your gifts and your talents. Let's go ahead and talk about what it is that you feel is being held back. And so when you think about your gifts, think about your talents, in what ways do you feel unsatisfied about where they are, what's happening with them, and so on and so forth?
Um, so I think one of the things that I guess I would like to address first is the fact that I don't even know if I've uncovered all of my gifts and talents. But I believe that my gifts and talents are communication, connecting with people, teaching, learning, um, like basic reciprocity, like being able to listen and then also being able to tell my story to encourage those who are listening. So those are my main gifts and talents. I've heard so many times like, oh, you feel like a breath of fresh air every time you walk into a room, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like the optimism. It's like I have the ability to throw it out to others and make them want to do better. So those are my personal gifts and talents right now. My name is Ayman. It means faith in Arabic. So that was the name my mother gave me. That's pretty much what I carry out. But I feel like um in terms of like those gifts and talents, I don't sharpen my skill and learn my craft like I should because of procrastination and laziness. And then, I feel like we've talked on this a little bit, like going to a job where you have these gifts and these talents and you're giving them out to the people at the job where you work at, but you're really not fulfilled because that's not, where you want to give those gifts and those talents out. It's not where it should be. I'm not really helping the world grow. I'm just helping a company make more money. You know what I mean? But I'm
I
not
see.
necessarily completely being effective like I could be in a different area.
I
So
see.
that's why I'm unsatisfied.
Okay, so you're in a place where you feel like you're doing some of what you're called to do because of your environment, but if you were to change environments, you would be doing a lot more, just in your own
Absolutely.
way. Okay.
Yeah. Or
All
the
right.
people who I know that I want to kind of hone in on.
Got you.
Because,
Your tribe.
well, not necessarily my tribe. It's like, so I work for this big corporation. I'm helping their customers, the customer base, which is, out in a predominantly, white area, and you get all of the, or, I'm teaching them, I'm helping them grow, but I know there are other areas and other people that I know I could be uplifting and helping them grow as well, but I'm not in, an area
Mm.
where I know I want to be, if that makes sense.
I-
So my tribe, along with other people of color who I know I could be helping, I know I could be teaching stuff to them and helping them grow in areas. So
Okay. Now, the things that I am pointing at, the picture that I'm painting in my mind, there are two things I want to say. With the first one being planning, and the second one being look at the wall behind you. Turn around, look at your walls. I'm looking behind you. You see all that stuff on your walls? That
yeah,
is what's gonna get you over. All them calendars you got, all of them. I'm trying to tell you the truth. All of them calendars you got back there. I'm gonna show you this in my office. You see my walls?
yeah,
Stuff all over my walls.
yeah,
But when you put that stuff up on the wall, that ought to be your vision, where you are taking things, and not necessarily just my day to day. Like I have different wall. I got a pad over here for one of my projects. I got a calendar over here for my day to day. I got, this right here for what I'm doing for the month, really. I have it broken down into certain elements where I can plan. Like I can plan what I'm doing on my job on this calendar. But then on the other one, I'm planning how am I leaving my job on that one. You see what I mean?
yeah,
So I want planning to be your number one focus. And also, the thing that's coming out in my mind is believing in yourself. One thing that I know about being a brown girl and just having this skin is that capability is not something that's taught to us. We don't necessarily, okay, let me rephrase that, because as a brown girl, I've always known I had to be self-sufficient. I've known all the time that I've had to be, I had to perform better to get less recognition. You know how that goes.
yeah,
But at the same time, people don't expect for us to have this high level of performance and achievement because they don't know how we operating up here. They don't really know what's going on when we spinning these wheels. And
Yeah.
so it's hard to sort of get in your mind, I'm capable of doing this. And a friend of mine told me once that if I knew what I was giving up by my lack of discipline, then I would not be so undisciplined.
Oh man, I know it. I already know it. Yeah.
it that changed me in a way because it was very true when he said that. He was like, you have to start believing that you are capable of doing things, because that is really truly what's going to make you buckle down and get your mind to a place where you're going to start believing that your plans will work out. And then you'll start making those plans and not having so much doubt about it. So one other thing, we're going to go in a little bit further because I want to know, what in your mind, what do you feel it's going to take for you to make that transition? What do you have to see? What do you have to know? What are the components? Like if I told you today that you had $1 million and you could do whatever you want with it, how would you change your world? How would you transform who you are, where you are, what you're doing?
To be honest, Reese, it's not even like so. So you mean what would have to happen in order for me to grow and do better?
No, what would have to happen for you to start making those moves, to start saying, okay, I can actually do
Oh,
this. Like this can work. What are those elements where your mind will start going from, all right, I have to stay in this smaller world where I can only be partially effective, to some of the people that I don't necessarily, these ain't even the people that I'm looking to be effective with. Like what in your mind will take you from that one dynamic to the next where you're saying, oh, okay, this is more satisfying. I actually like what I'm doing in this, arena. These people are the people I want to touch. This is how I want to touch these people. How are you making it? What would it take for that transition to be made?
to be completely honest with you, I just got to get uncomfortable, and that's what it is. Like, but uncomfortable. Nobody likes. I don't know not one single person who enjoys feeling uncomfortable. It don't feel good. But I know I have to make myself uncomfortable, which means at some point I have to leave where I'm working because I'm using it as my crutch just to continue on. Excuse my language. Can I curse? Is that good?
Oh
Is that
yes.
okay?
Oh yes.
Good. Perfect.
Let
Just
it
to
out.
continue with the bullshit. So it was like I gotta stop using my job as a crutch. Like, okay, I'm here because I know I need to pay these bills. But the crazy part is, and I've been put in this situation before, if you about to lose the roof over your head, you ain't got no choice but to survive. And that's one thing that we do know how to do is survive. So it's crazy because I'm combating fear right now, but at the same time, it's like the fear doesn't feel good. So what do I do to get away from it? But then to get away from it, you got to get uncomfortable. So I'm really just like trying to get comfortable with the idea of being uncomfortable. But at the same time, I like growth and change. But it's that back and forth. Like, oh shit, you about to be shit. Like you said in one, you know what I'm saying, when you did one live, like shit, I had to get uncomfortable. Couldn't get my nails and my hair done. Couldn't like
Can't do
fly
it.
out. You just got to get uncomfortable. But right now, I'm like, man, I'm living the comfortable life.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm about to have to release this for a little while and just like, but it's gonna make me work so much harder, and I become so much more resourceful, and I grow. But again, it's
okay. I'm gonna take you there. I'm gonna get you all the way in the frame of mind. All right. So
oh Lord.
We're gonna talk real quick about attachments, and we're gonna talk a little bit about safety, because you mentioned survival. Now, attachments, they are the motivation that keeps you in the comfort zone. When you're attached to things, it's why the comfort zone is so appealing, because it's like, how a baby might be in a room with a whole bunch of toys, and they're like, no, this is my favorite toy, I want to play with this. No, this one's my favorite too. And oh no, I want this one too. And it's like, because they're attached to all these things and they want to hold them close, that's the reason why they stay in that area. But if the second you can say, you know what, this is a nice toy, but I'm going to go ahead and donate it. Or, you know, this was my favorite book, but I've read it a million times. I'm going to donate that to Goodwill. I don't have to have that anymore because I'm releasing it. One thing I learned, I was watching Marie Kondo on Netflix, and she has this process where in order to release things out of your life, she will thank it. Like she'll say, okay, thank you, hairbrush. You really did.
Real.
You were my favorite brush. You brushed my hair for so many days and kept me looking good. But now I have a new brush and I'm going to release you. Thank you so much. And I'm going to let you go. And to me, it was like a healthy way to, hey boo. It was a healthy way to express that releasing, because in your mind, these attachments, they are important. What, boy? Shahid, I'm not worried about that car. Here, use this one. I'm sorry. Get that one. Get that truck. He talking about he want his rocket car. Like I'm about to get up and look for that.
You want the right one.
You bought the car, girl. I got car. We got millions of cars all over this house. Go get you another car, please. I'll be back. So the attachments, they are the thing that's going to keep you in the comfort zone. So that's, I believe, the number one thing is to, like you said, the things that are making you comfortable, learn how to unattach yourself from them in a place, so you can be in a mental place where if this thing comes or goes in my life, I'm going to be all right. Now I had a little bit of difficulty, but not necessarily, because I grew up as a tomboy. I grew up like real tomboyish. I wore boy clothes. I did not put nothing on my face. You see, I don't mind looking crazy. That's just, I don't care. And so for me, the beauty regimen was nothing for me to let go. Me not getting my nails done, me not getting my hair done. I was like, boy, bye. I don't care anyway. But
Yeah.
when it came to me shopping and when it came to me eating, oh God, eating out and having like vacations and going out every weekend and being all in the, you know, and on the scene with my friends and everything, me feeling like I wasn't a part of life anymore was an attachment that I really, really, really had to just settle with myself. Like, Sharice, you being out there and doing all those other things are not related to you reaching your goals. So you're gonna have to recognize that if you want to be out here in these streets like you want to be, you drinking every weekend, you smoking, you partying, you shopping, you traveling, you're just living it up, but you're not seeing what you want to see come out of this. You want to see yourself have financial stability. You want to see yourself have a business that is successful, that you put up into motion on your own. Like, I want to feel the accomplishment that comes along with me running my own business. So for me to have that longing in my heart, but yet I'm not working towards it because I'm steadily tricking off in the streets, it made me have to come to a crossroads where I had to choose one or the other. And
Yeah.
I was like, girl, you're going to have to decide, because you can stay in this comfortable zone. But if you're not willing, they say you got to stay down until you come up. And that's really that's where I transitioned my mind to. Stay down until you come up. So I had to recognize that this downtime where I wasn't out, I wasn't spending, I wasn't living that old comfortable lifestyle, that was my downtime. You know, it was, Sharice, just stay down. You know how to stay low, keep your head low, stay out of, not be on the phone with everybody, not trying to go to every brunch that somebody invites you to. I knew how to do that. So I just tapped into my loner spirit. You see what I mean? Where people invited me out and I'm like, nah, I got some things I'm trying to focus on. Some people, let's go shopping, girl. They got this sale going on up at the, Girl, I got some things I'm trying to focus on. I'm trying to, get this done. So attachments, that was the number one thing. Now the safety is what I also want to talk about, which is hugely important with this comfort zone. Because to me, a comfort zone is not just about you, it's not just about being comfortable. It's also about you having your provisions made for life. You have to eat. You got to have a roof over your head. Those are common things that every human needs, but making a transition can be just as safe outside of the comfort zone. It can be just as safe if you plan for it. That's why I was saying use those boards. use those boards, because let's just say you're saying, okay, I need to have my rent paid while I'm not working a 9 to 5. How am I going to accomplish that? If you sat down and gave you a plan and say, okay, now look, it's going to take me about two years. I want to give myself 2 years to create a viable business plan where I can get it off the ground. I can make it successful. I can replace the income that I was making at work. You write down a plan. What will it take for that business to thrive? How much money will you have saved up in order for you to have your rent paid for 2 years while you're working on this business? Work on that. Make that a goal. So when you have the money saved up, or when you have some kind of something. Now, see, with me, I was able to quit my job because I set my husband to work. At first, I was the breadwinner in our household. But then when I had a baby, I had to stay home. So I sent him to work. And that's how I was able to quit. I was able to make that happen. But whatever way you have to, break it down, you can still make that transition out of your comfort zone, but in a safe way. And the only safety that you're going to have is your planning. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And once you have that plan together, I'm not saying just jump out there. Sometimes you even got to sit on your plan for a little bit and let your plan marinate, let your plan evolve. Sometimes you go to planning and that plan is not, you need plan A, B, C, D. Sometimes you got to go through it. I went through a lot of plans before I got to one that was going to be sustainable. But at the end of the day, that trial and error is where you kind of like find yourself, where you're like, that's going to work for me, but that won't. That's going to work for this plan, but that's not going to work. But getting started on that path is the number one way to like go ahead and make the transition. Getting started with the plans. Tonight, I'm going to give you some homework. Tonight, get you one of these things. Get you like a piece of any piece of paper. I like these because it look like a list.
I got like 5 of those right here.
See, you like me, you like stationery. You like to write stuff down. I can see that.
I got stuff written down. Look on envelopes, everything.
Because it makes a difference when you're able to get them thoughts out. Get them thoughts out about all of what we're talking about. I want you to write down on one list the things that you attach to and you don't necessarily want to give up. I also want you to write down.
Wait, what was the first list? You just went out.
The attachments. Okay. Any attachments that you have, list them out. What is it that if you were to change your lifestyle, what is it that you don't want to lose? And what is it that you can sacrifice on your attachment list? On the next list, I want you to write out what you would fear. What do you fear? Not paying your rent, not having a house, a home or food or whatever things, losing your friends, your social life, whatever it is, write the fears on here. Get you a list of fears. And I want you to start studying these things because in your mind and your spirit, for real, you know that you are a free being. So anything that's on this attachment list is really false. The only thing that you write on your attachment list is going to be stuff that you're only mentally attached to. And you could change your mind to release them attachments because you're free. You was born by yourself and you're going to die by yourself. Anything that you attach to is only because you're mentally attached to it. So write them things down and study them. Look at them. Figure out what are they providing for you in your life that's making you so attached to them. If you attached like I was to going out shopping all the time, always wanting to be in a different outfit, girl, when I tell you I had to have all the clothes, I just wanted all the clothes. And I was just like, man, I can't go shopping no more. You should see me at the thrift store. You think I was at Bloomingdale's. I'll be in the thrift store acting a damn fool with $20. I'll be in there acting a damn fool because I love shopping. That's just me. And I was attached to it real bad. But when I started realizing, okay, well, Sharice, you might not necessarily have to lose this attachment altogether because like when I was losing my attachment, what I did was I tricked myself. I started decorating for people. When I knew I wanted to shop, I would go out and have people pay me to decorate for them because they would give me all their money and I would go to a store and I would get all of my shopping in, but it wasn't for me. And it wasn't my money. And so they would pay me. That was my first business model that I ever put out there. I put out my first, I was doing trial and error with business. because I didn't know
Wow.
what kind of business I wanted to start. I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I said, okay, well, let me just start this business to help me lose my attachment to shopping. So I started that business. I go out and I find people to let me decorate for them. And they used to pay me, give me all that money. I'm talking about thousands of dollars to go out shopping. I used to be in that store acting up, with them people money. But it used to be satisfying, and it helped me lose my attachment, because after I spent all their money and went and decorated their house, I had my fix of shopping, but I still had my money. I even had a little more money in my pocket, and it was helping me to reach my goal, but it wasn't like killing me on the inside. Like, oh my God, I can't shop. And then eventually I just lost the need to shop because I realized I'm not coming home with none of this stuff. This ain't even my stuff.
Yeah.
And I eased myself out of it. I eased myself. But that's just because I know me. Now, you might be a hard hitter. You might be able to write down an attachment and just easily throw it out and say, this isn't this. I wrote it down as an attachment, but I mean, I don't have to have this. You could do that.
How do you know the difference between an attachment and a necessity? Like a vehicle, is that an attachment or a necessity?
It depends on you and how far you're willing to go, because a vehicle is an attachment, because you don't have to have it. You're not going to die if you lose your car.
But it's also tied to freedom, though. It's like being so I live in Maryland, and so from where I am, it takes you just want to drive. That's all I can say.
Because I'm in Georgia. In Georgia, the same way, you got to have a car because it's so far. And that's what I mean by it depends on you. So for you, it may not be an attachment. It may be a necessity because of what your lifestyle is. But if you were the type of person where you just only went to the grocery store every now and then or whatever, that could be considered an attachment because you don't really need it. But if you need it and it's providing, like you said, some kind of freedom for you, or it's enabling you to continue your goals and to reach your goals, then yes, I would feel like it's more of a necessity than an attachment. But to make that differentiation a bit easier, look at your attachments as things that you like to have but don't need. Like you could find an alternative, a more healthy alternative, or a more purposeful alternative. If there's something that you could be doing outside of that attachment that has more purpose than what you're doing right now, then that can be considered an attachment. If you don't want to let it go, but you could be doing something better, or you could be doing something more intentional. So that's what the overall picture that I wanted to paint for you with this safety zone that I'm describing is you making transitions, soft transitions on yourself out of that comfort zone, releasing the attachments. And also, like I said, write out that list of fear. After you studied your attachments and you've made some adjustments to whatever is going on that list of attachments, also study that list of fears. And when that list of fears comes up, I want you to really seriously look at each fear and look at why are you fearing that. If you fear not having enough money, think about why you fear not having enough money. Is it because you feel like you're not capable of making more money in other ways? Do you feel like it's too much competition out there? Break down the fears around break down the emotions around each fear. So why do you feel fear around this particular thing about not having the bills paid or about not having that job? Break it down to yourself, each fear. Now, why do I fear this? Is there any other way I can relieve this fear? Can I do something to support myself through this fear? Is there an alternative? Like I said, if you don't necessarily want to quit your job because you know you're going to have to pay your rent, you have bills to pay, you're in this comfort zone, those fears can be broken down further into your emotions. So if you are fearful about, like I said, the job or leaving it because of whatever provisions that is giving you the money, you can break that down and say, okay, well, how else can I get this money? What kind of talents am I going to be pursuing in order for me to make more money? How quickly can I make more money? How much money can I make off of the talents that I have? Once you have written out your business plans, and once you have written out how you want to move forward with a career, I think it would be a lot easier after the fact for you to start analyzing those fears, because planning is the first step to relieving the fear. Once you start to plan it, okay, I know I'm going to quit this job. I know that it's going to require, let's say, $15,000 for me to have my rent paid for a certain amount of time. So because I'm planning this now, I'm slowly releasing my fear. Now I know that out of that $15,000, I got 7,500. So it's going to take me a little longer to get that another 7,500 so that I can reach my $15,000 goal. Now, when I get $15,000, I'm going to go ahead and pay my rent up. Then I'm going to have this X amount of time. Now, if I don't reach my goal in that X amount of time, this is what I'm going to do. And so when you start planning it out, then the fears will start to subside because you know what you're going to do. You start to paint a picture of the alternative. And when you start to get that picture of the alternative, that's when the fear starts to go. If I know for a fact that, let's just say for a fact, I am afraid of snakes. I'm going to give you an all the way off topic example. Let's say I know that I'm afraid of snakes. I don't mess with snakes, but I'm afraid when I break it down, I'm afraid that I'm going to get bitten. I'm afraid that that thing going to bite me and I might die. I might have venom or whatever. But let's just say it is, I'm doing some kind of challenge and somebody tell me I got to go in a pit of snakes. Now, I know good and for well I'm terrified because I'm not trying to die of a snake bite. But then when somebody come around and tell me, oh, this is a non-venomous snake, it doesn't bite. Your fear, because you just knew that, you just learned that there's nothing that snake can do to you, you're better able to go and complete that challenge. You're better able to go into the pit of snakes because you know you're not going to get bitten. And you know that was your number one fear, was getting bitten. So it's like once you know that that's not a problem no more, then you can go forward. So I want you to treat your plans like that. Whatever it is that's on that list of fears around surrounding your goals, break it down further into why am I afraid of this? What is going to happen to me? If I do this or if I make this change, because if I can plan ahead for that, then I can release my fears associated with it. And then that's how your plans start to get into motion. Once that first plan take off, once that first plan is launched into motion, you really can't stop after that. It's like being on a roller coaster. Once you have strapped yourself in and that dude pressed that button to send your ass to the top of that first drop, you on the ride. It ain't nothing you can do to the end. And that's exactly how it is when you plan for things. When you start to make moves in your plans, you have strapped yourself into a roller coaster. The universe is getting ready to start churning out results. The universe is getting ready to start taking you wherever the plans is taking you. That's how it works. You start to focus, you start to make them plans, you start to release your fears, you start to lose your attachments, and you're out of there. You're gone. The roller coaster has taken off. And you're gone. You might have to tweak it a little bit. You might have to adjust in your seat. You might have to be scared. You might have to scream to the top of your lungs, but you're on that ride and there's nothing you can do to get off of it because you made the plans and now you're inside of your plans. Once you get inside of your plans, if you step out of it, it's going to be up to you to make sure that you're safely stepping outside of whatever it is that you're doing and make sure that you're planning all that writing you doing. Put some purpose behind it. Get them lists. You boo-boo. Okay. You're so cute. I'm coming. I'm going to come get it. Such a cute little baby. He just be... I'm coming. I'm coming, Shaheed. This little baby, sometimes I swear, I be like, where did I get this from? Where did I get you from? Where did you come from? He used to be walking around my house like a grown man. Balls all hanging out. Go downstairs, man. I'm coming. And don't sit on nothing until I wipe your butt. Give me some wipes. Go bring me some wipes. Okay. Thank you. He talking about I boo-boo on my pot. Nice. Okay, but so does that all make sense? Do you see how that works with where the planning comes into place with your comfort zone and also your attachments?
Absolutely.
And how that it all ties together?
Yep, absolutely.
Great. But I definitely want you to believe in these things. Let me tell you, when you write these plans out, I want you to believe every part of your plan. Believe it because it's coming from you. If you know that you have your best interests at heart, know that you're not leading yourself astray. know that you're capable of doing whatever it is that you're planning out, or else it wouldn't have come out your mind. I always say that, like, I used to hate in Christianity when I was in church studying the Bible and everything, where some Christians, they'll tell you, you're not supposed to know everything. You're not supposed to question certain things. And I always hated that, because I'm like, I feel like you trying me. Like I can't understand. And for me, I wouldn't be asking if I couldn't understand the answer to my question. And I feel the same way about my plans. When I'm making my plans, I wouldn't be planning for this if I wasn't capable of doing it. If I wasn't capable of getting there, it wouldn't even be a conceivable in my mind if I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So when you are writing these plans, write out everything that you know for a fact that you can do, that it is attainable. It got to be attainable in your own special way. And when you're writing it out, every part of it, you'll start to see just how attainable it is the further you break it down into your plans. If you're making plans that scare you, break them down further. Go down even deeper into them. If you feel like that plan is not attainable right now, break it down even further into things that are attainable right now. Things that you can take action on right now. That's going to be your homework, them lists. 2 lists. Next time you come up in that live, I'm going to ask you, did you do them lists? And that is going to be your number one thing. So let's talk a little bit more about some other stuff, because I know personality is heavy when it comes into these things. And so I want to know a little bit about your personality and about how you necessarily go about your life in taking risks. Like, how do you normally approach intimidating things, or how do you normally approach things that you feel kind of wary about, uncertain about, where it's just like a fog? How do you normally approach that kind of stuff?
I don't know. I don't like conflict. So when it comes to approaching stuff that again doesn't feel good, I try to do the best I can to avoid it, which then I usually get into a space where the universe makes me have to do whatever I have to do. So at that point I have to figure it out head on. But no, I like change. Change feels good because it just kind of reboots who you are as an individual, but I don't run toward it.
Okay. What about with yourself? I heard you say you don't like conflict, but you do like change. So what about internal conflicts? Do you avoid those too?
I don't think that's something you can avoid. If anything, I don't. There's not too much. I have to address that because it's internal. It's there. That's not something you can escape from. You know what I mean? It's like that's that never-ending conversation in your head that you can't quite quiet down until you address it. And if you never address it, it keeps going. It's just there.
It will, and that's why I was asking, because this internal conflict, I'm gonna say this just to kind of piggyback off of what you said, because you can't escape it. There really is no way to escape it, but the avoidance part can be done. There are situations where it could be avoided, and it leads to this kind of like resistance, like a resistance. So let's just say your internal conflict is about something. We're gonna stay in this situation with this work of yours, your career. The internal conflict of stay or go. It's an internal thing where your bottom of your heart, the darkest corners of your soul want to go. You want to go. And that's just bottom line. You want to go. But there are some internal conflicts in there where the banter back and forth in your mind is even though it knows we want to go, it's something on this side that always resolves on we're staying. And this is the internal conflict. And I want to say the type of internal conflict that I want to talk about. Because at the end of the day, it's your personality that's reigning supreme over this banter. As this banter is going back and forth, it's your personality that's deciding the end the end of the day, what it's going to be. So when your personality, first of all, I want you to recognize that you have multiple personalities, and that's normal. So which one of your personalities are you allowing to make these decisions for you to go in resistance to what the bottom of your heart, the corners of your soul really truly want? Which one of those personalities are saying, you know what, girl, I know that this is what you want to do, but this is what we're going to do instead.
Yeah.
And so this internal conflict, I want you to talk to that chick. I want you to talk to her, the one that's saying, I don't care what you want. This is what we're doing. I want you to talk to that chick. And I want you to tell her some things about yourself. For example, all right, now I know you want us to stay at this job. I know you've been forcing us to stay at this job because all your personalities that are in there, all multiples of you, they all have to sit in your brain, in your life experience, and go through whatever she's forcing everybody to go through. Yeah. She's forcing all of the personalities to be subject to her decision to stay. So as she's making this decision to stay, I want you to allow all the other personalities to speak up and express themselves as well. So as they're staying at the job, as they are not being as effective in this purpose that they want to be effective in, with the touching people, communicating with people, teaching people, having this greater purpose, as they are being silenced by her, as they are being sat down by her, I want you to occasionally allow them to speak. If you have to write down, if you have to just meditate, if you have to speak it out, talk to yourself, go back and forth. Sometimes I will have a full-on back and forth conversation out loud with myself in the mirror. That's what it takes. Yeah. But let those other personalities speak up. However they want to, let them speak, because they are going to be the ones that will eventually influence her. She'll be the one to eventually have to humble herself and to allow herself to submit to what they want at some point. Now, I know that means you're going to have to lose some attachments. You're going to have to make safe transitions, getting uncomfortable. You're going to have to believe in yourself. You're going to have to plan. It's going to be all these things that we just talked about. Yeah. But as you're talking back and forth to these personalities, that is what's going to get her to humble herself. When she starts, because right now, she's all powerful because she knows, we got to stay because we got to pay these bills. And y'all know that. Right now, we got to stay because we don't have a plan, and y'all know that. So be quiet. You know, she's saying, no, we're comfortable right here. So no, y'all going to have to. But the more and more you allow the other ones to say, you know what? Yes, this is very comfortable, the situation that you're in. And we do love to have, all the little perks of you having this job. But at the same time, we're also dying to get away from that desk. We're also dying to touch people that we care about. We're also dying to express our talent. We're also dying because we want to get out of here. We want to go and do, and we want to be new. We want to change. Like you just said, I love change, but more than you love change, you love comfort. And so those things have to be balanced out. They got to be balanced out. And it's going to happen based on your personality. It's going to happen based on where she is taking you and where she's allowing the others to take you. Because the same way she's taking you to that job every day, the other personalities want to take you into your dreams. They want to take you somewhere too. But if she hogging up all the space and being selfish and being prideful and being whatever, egotistical, she's not going to allow them other ones to get no glory. It's going to be you that's going to say, girl, shut up now. They talking. And I need to see what they're saying, because more than likely one of them gonna have something good to say. One of them is gonna have a plan. The one that wants to get out of there, that's gonna be the one that's gonna give you your plan. Yeah. You understand? The one that gets out of there, she's gonna be the one to speak up and say, I'm not attached to that. You might be attached to it, but I'm not attached to that. So because I want this, I'm gonna give you the power, the strength to lose that attachment, because I'm not even worried about that. I want that. I want that shiny new car, not that old, hoopty. Shiny, you didn't get your wipes. Go get your wipes. Oh, okay. Thanks.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, okay. At 2 years old, I can't.
At 2.
He'd be like, that makes sense. He'd be like, mommy, I need to figure this out. I said, well, you are definitely my child. At 2 years old,
brilliant.
Somebody got to figure it out. I'm like, yes, figure it out, boy.
You have to do some research.
Yes. Oh man, and I'm even glad that you said that. We got about 15 more minutes, so I'm gonna be quiet. Okay, I'm coming. We got about 15 more minutes. So I'm gonna be quiet, but I also want to say that is a good thing that you just said. What was that word you just used?
For the baby?
Research. You said research.
Oh yeah, I said he going to do some research.
Yeah,
he said, let me figure it out. Yeah,
let me figure it out. And girl, that baby just preached the word.
He didn't even know.
Because you're I think that's the last component I want to talk about. I'm gonna let it go after this, but your planning boils down to your research. So as you're getting your personalities to come together, as you're getting all of your internal support, where you're believing in yourself, where you're planning, where you are making safe transitions out of your comfort zone, where you're losing your attachments, that's all your internal support for you to get to where you're trying to go. Research is a heavy, heavy, heavy component. Because as you're making these safe transitions out of your comfort zone, the research is what's going to enable those moves. As you are researching and putting this plan together, it will take for you to, especially if you want to get away from your job and start a business, research will be the key component to settling your soul on what you're doing. If you trust your research, if your research is thorough enough, if your research covers everything that you want it to cover, thank you, then that is equivalent to you learning that those snakes don't bite. When you're researching, that is you discovering that there is no threat in the moves that you're making. Or let me put it this way, a more specific way to say it. As you research, you learn what is a threat and what is not. And so that way, you know how Christians, they'll tell you, or not even Christians, but just generally, they'll say you only fear the unknown.
Yeah.
And so the more and more you research, the more you know, the less you fear. You only fear the unknown. But when you research and when you put that time into really buckling down into finding out what it is that you're moving into, research is like a light. It sheds light on things to the point where you can see. And because you can see and understand, you're not afraid anymore. Those snakes don't bite, or you do know which ones do bite, and you know how to approach them. Like, them snake charmers, they know how to get in front of that snake so it's not going to pop out and bite them. They know how to handle it,
right?
Because they know the snake. So this is what your research is doing to you. It's showing you how to approach these obstacles, and it's showing you how you can or where you can relax and where you need to perk up and be more vigilant, where you need to be more diligent, where you need to be more persistent, things like that. So, okay, I got you. So yeah, I research is the last component that I want to talk about. So do you feel like moving forward tonight after you write those lists, do you feel like that will help you to conceptualize some things more, where you know a little bit more about how you're going to make some next moves?
Yes, especially because I feel the fears, but I've never addressed them, so I don't know specifically. I know that the fear is there. I just don't know specifically what I'm fearing. So once I know what I'm fearing and what I'm attached to, it makes it a lot easier to understand, to understand where the actual fear is coming from. And if I can release the things that I know I can already release, then I shouldn't have any problems releasing them. Therefore, I kind of demolish the fear, because now I can release the attachments. So, and again, like you said, the research, that's the biggest part. Sharpening that skill, sharpening these crafts, researching, knowing what I'm doing. I know my
Yes.
job, when I present, I'm more confident, and it flows a lot easier when I know what I'm talking about. When I
Yes.
don't know what I'm talking about, or I can't move forward because I haven't done the research, that's also another fear, because I don't have that information. So
That's
yeah,
brilliant.
absolutely.
Brilliance,
Absolutely.
I tell you. Brilliant.
I
That is
appreciate this a lot.
exactly right. When you, if I could tell everybody that, I think that would be something that'll help to free the world. Is how much confidence knowledge gives you.
Yeah.
When you have
Yeah.
learned
Really good.
something, when you know what you're talking about, you walking with your head so high, can't nobody tell you
Yep.
nothing. That
Yep.
research is really, really, really going to put you in a place where you can walk, you can move,
Yeah.
and you can know for sure that this next step is the next step. You can plant your foot firmly on that knowledge. You can
Yeah.
plant your feet firmly on what you know. It's confidence for a reason. And so when you get to that point of confidence in your planning, because you have research and you know exactly where you're going and what you're doing and why and when, who, what, when, where, why, and how.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. You feel me? All of this
Yeah.
research is going to give you the confidence for you to go and just say, I know what I'm doing. I'm not going to allow that fear in my head to step in my way, because that fear, I already researched it. I already
Yep.
know what I'm doing. I already know how that might work out 10 different ways. I already know the ins and outs, the ups and downs, and everything in between. So whatever it is that could come my way, whatever snake could bite me, I know how to charm that snake. I know how to
Yeah.
handle that snake. I know how to hold it by the neck so it can't get me.
Yep.
So this is how you're gonna move forward.
I'm
Um,
excited.
I'm excited for you. I'm excited
Yeah.
for you. And what else am I gonna say? The last thing I'm gonna say is be patient with yourself. This stuff is not getting ready to happen overnight. It could if you're lucky, but it ain't gonna happen overnight. Give yourself time. I mean, real time, like years. Give yourself year goals. I mean, of course, you want to give yourself today goals, monthly goals. That's why I say I like that you got all them things around you. Do you a vision board for 3 years down the road? Do you one of them lists for next month? Do you a planner for this week on how you're getting ready to move all the way through them things? But be patient with it. Give yourself leeway, give yourself consideration, give yourself, time, because all these changes are going to be happening in the ethers first. They're going to happen up in the universe first. While you're painting these pictures in your mind, the universe is like a 3D printer. You painting a picture in your mind, but the universe is printing that shit right here. It's printing. And you thinking about this little guy right here, but eventually the universe going to put it in your hand.
Yeah.
Somebody had to think about this before they could have made it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so this is how your dreams and everything that you write on that paper is working. While you writing it and while you dreaming it, the universe is printing it out, and it's going to put it right before your feet. So be patient. Let it happen. Let it go. Don't resist it. Stay out of your own way. Talk to yourself. Boost yourself up. Encourage yourself. Do all of that, because as you plan, like I said, as you plan, you're going to get on that roller coaster. The more you plan, the tighter you're strapping yourself in.
Yeah.
And the less you'll be able to get away from that. So move forward in your confidence, move forward with your goals, and bam, bust it out with my naked baby. You can't reach. I think we pretty much good. We did about an hour.
Yo, I
So
appreciate you so much, Reese.
I appreciate you too. And I
You
want you,
bet.
I want you to share this. I know you like to touch people and teach people and stuff like that. As you get it and work it and put your own spin on it, like
Yeah.
you just said, you like to touch people, teach people about these things, and let it simmer down in there.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna let you go. And I don't know
Okay.
where I'm gonna publish this, but I'll send you a link to it, and I'm also gonna send you a link to my Google page. It might be my Facebook page, one of the two, so that you could do a review, if you will.
Okay.
All
Absolutely.
right,
Of course. I
cool.
appreciate you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Go forward in peace and blessings and love and all that extra good stuff.
I will. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right,
Thank
girl. Later.
you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.